It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day, everybody. I'm Brad Miller. It is County-Wide, and we're very pleased to welcome via Zoom this morning Ashley Ahlquist. Ashley is the manager of the Yavapai County Office of Emergency Management. And so we'll say good day, Ashley Ahlquist. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
It's a busy time, and I'm sure it always is in your office. A lot of us, though, kind of on the outside looking in, think about, springtime and wildfire season certainly is on everybody's minds. As spring turns to summer, the winds and the sun and the heat dry things out. And then monsoon flooding, and those monsoonal issues are going to be creeping into onto our calendar here before very long. And a lot of times when we think about emergency management and what you do, we do think of some of those kind of seasonal things. And then fall and winter will have their own things as well. Let me do this. I did see in some media reports there is, I don't know if it's a new or modified emergency alert system wherein citizens can, sign up and become aware of things as they break?
Yeah, so the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office recently replaced Code Red with a system called Everbridge and Alert Yavapai. So it is a new emergency notification system where people can register with their address or their work or whatever locations they kind of want to monitor. So that way they know if there is an evacuation or some sort of critical incident that requires action at home or wherever they're at. So people that had previously registered for Code Red did not get moved over to Everbridge, and they will have to re-register in this new system. They can do that at ycsoaz.gov, and we definitely encourage people to register. As you mentioned, we are going into fire season, and so in order for people to know if their homes are going to be impacted and see if they're going to get that a set or a go message, the best way is to sign up for Everbridge.
Okay, so we can do that through the county's website. I think you said, or the sheriff's office website, ycsoaz.gov?
Correct.
Okay, and we'll repeat that a couple of times here during the program so that folks can get signed up. The reasoning that you would want to be on that list and get those kinds of notifications, perhaps even if you're on another side of the county than where flooding or storm activity may be, seem obvious, but can you kind of help our listeners understand why it's important to stay in tune with things that could be coming through your office?
Well, that's one of the big things that we talk about in emergency management is just emergency preparedness in general. And one of those pillars, so to speak, is staying aware. And so it's really important that we, as the public, as the community, just maintain an awareness of what kind of hazards can occur in our community. And obviously the big one that we're aware of is going to be fires and flooding, but there's a few others that can occur. There are fault lines in Yavapai County and such. But since, we are going to fire season, that is a bit of our focus. And just understanding that even though we just came out of flooding, 2 months ago where we had evacuations for flooding, we've had such significant parts of the county that had a lot of moisture, a lot of snowfall. Fire is still a very prevalent threat and hazard to our communities, and we need to be prepared. So that way, when you do get that notification, you are prepared to go and you're not scrambling and rushing out the door. You have a sense of what to be expecting, and you are just better prepared. And it's kind of like what I say to people that maybe don't like public speaking. They hate it or whatever, but how do you ease your calm or ease your nerves, and you practice and you prepare yourself so that way you can go out there and your nerves are settled. And that's the same kind of concept and philosophy for emergency preparedness. You get ready so that way you're not as panicked in the throes of an incident.
It's like kids doing fire drills in school.
Exactly.
It's just that same kind of warm-up. And hopefully fire drills at home, too. Those are very important as well, with especially little ones in the home. Absolutely. Well, it makes perfect sense. And I was also kind of thinking, the alert Code Red as we got used to that, and now this kind of modified, newer system. It's important to alert people, certainly, who might be in harm's way or directly impacted by, let's say, flooding or wildfire. But I know that it also puts people kind of on notice who might be able to assist. And I'm talking about like some of the animal rescues and things like that, folks who, the citizenry, not just first responders and agents through your office, but the public at large can kind of understand. And it's important, even if you're not in the path of an imminent threat, wildfire, flood, whatever it may be, it's good for everybody to kind of know that something is happening very close.
Mhm. No, absolutely.
Oh.
And it's, as you mentioned, it's about everyone kind of thinking of what they can do in those situations, and it's preparedness at the individual level. So it's not only for me, myself, and I, but it's also for my loved ones, my family, and my furry loved ones as well. In emergency management, we are support during a critical incident. And so one of the things that we oversee is sheltering, and that's for both humans and animals. So we work closely with the Red Cross for the human sheltering component, but we also work with Animal Disaster Services and LASER, which is Large Animal Sheltering and Emergency Readiness. I always have to remember their acronym. But they deal with so ADS, Animal Disaster Services, deals with like your domestic animals, so your dogs, your cats, your lizards. Et cetera. And then LASER will be your barn animals. So we've seen horses and chickens and ducks and all those sorts of critters. And so they actually have facilities out at Arizona Downs off of 89A where they're able to shelter those animals as well.
And have come in very, very handy for some folks impacted by this in previous things. So is Code Red offline then, or?
Correct. Code Red is gone.
Okay, so we're all going to move over to this new one. We will need to re-sign or sign up again for that, but it is important. You can have that warning, that alert, that knowledge right in your phone. Carry it with you wherever you go, and you can do that through the Sheriff's Office website, and that's ycsoaz.gov. We would encourage everybody to be signed up and to understand what that's about. All right, let's talk a little bit. You did mention typically when we talk about flooding, say, we're kind of thinking about monsoon, especially the flash floods and the low water crossing issues and those kinds of things. But yeah, we do sometimes get that wet winter, that perfect matchup of snowfall accumulating over several weeks or months' time, and then some springtime or early, late winter, early spring warm rains. We did certainly have some of that this season. What did we kind of come out of the winter with? Was there a lot of damage? Were people pretty quick to adjust to that, and were people ready?
So this incident, we worked very closely for the flooding incident with the National Weather Service as well as the Flood Control District. And it was a great partnership across the board. We had planning meetings, not only with emergency management, flood control and the weather service, but the sheriff's office, Canterbury Marshal's office, Sedona Police Department, Copper Canyon Fire, Verde Valley Fire, Cottonwood Fire and PD and such. And and Sedona Fire. So it was all hands on deck, and everyone was communicating, collaborating, and it was great to have that communication because what we were allowed to do for this incident, based on the information from the weather service and flood control and such, was be able to make the determination, especially for our law enforcement partners, to evacuate earlier in the day before some of these peak flood levels hit. And so that really helped in terms of not having to be out there at 2:00 in the morning, waist deep in water, trying to get people out of their homes.
Yeah.
It also allowed us to mobilize our shelters and have them activated, as well as the emergency call center that we partnered with the health department to man. And so it was a very seamless process in getting that out. So it was great in the sense of we had information, we were able to collaborate and do what we felt was best for our communities. None of us were expecting it, that's for sure. But
Right.
it was a great just opportunity for all of us to work together. And I think overall, I mean, yes, there was damages, and unfortunately, some people did have severely damaged or destroyed homes. But one of the things about Yavapai County is that we are a resilient community, and so people were coming together to help one another out. We had Team Rubicon out there helping some people, as well as some other volunteer organizations. And so far, it has been moving forward. Camp Verde did get some infrastructure damage to some of their roads.
Right.
That was one of the leading factors into them declaring, as well as Yavapai County declaring and the state declaring state of emergency. And so it's going to allow Camp Verde and potentially Chino Valley, because they had some damages as well with the flooding, to potentially get reimbursement from the state to help with some of that infrastructure damage. Okay.
And here again, in a sense, it's kind of like a real life practice for monsoon, when we kind of more commonly think about flash flooding and those kinds of things. Are folks in this incident, did we find that folks are ready to go? Do they have a go bag? Papers, pets, medications, and things like that. We've been talking about that for decades. Everybody to get ready.
Yeah.
Are folks doing pretty good with that?
It's hit and miss. It really is. One
Sure.
of the things that I've seen is some people move from other areas of the country and they're like, well, it was way worse where I come from.
Mhm.
And so they kind of minimize the impact that it has here. And so there is some complacency, I'm not going to lie, but there are some people that are absolutely prepared and they've got everything ready to go. But the thing that we have to remember with disasters is even though wildfires are the big ones that we see, every year we're typically seeing some sort of evacuation and shelter activation, et cetera. So that's what we kind of preach on, but we got to remember floods do happen. Other incidents could happen. And so we preach about the go bag, but sometimes it's about sheltering in place too.
Sure.
So it's being prepared for both things to happen. And so it's hit and miss.
Yeah,
We could always do
yeah.
better.
Right. Okay. Well, on that note, let's take just a short break. We need to pause for just a moment. We're talking again with Ashley Ahlquist, a manager of the Yavapai County Office of Emergency Management. We had some issues with flooding and things like that here in the early spring, late winter, and monsoon is upon us. Wildfire season really is always here. We'll talk about those things when we return to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to Countywide. Ashley Ahlquist, our guest today. And Ashley is a manager, Yavapai County Office of Emergency Management. Well, let's zip ahead then and talk about monsoon brings challenges. We talk about really kind of a double whammy with wildfire potential through lightning strikes as our monsoon storms roll in around the 4th of July or so. And then, of course, flash flooding, oftentimes in the spring. You mentioned working closely with the National Weather Service during the winter storms. I would assume that partnership carries on into the wet season as well in the summertime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a way? I mean, what kind of notice? I mean, generally speaking, we all know that we have monsoon storms at a certain time of year. They have a season to them. Do you get hourly alerts when things look like they're going to be severe or heavy lightning, or how concise can that get?
Well, so I mean that's the thing with weather. And, right now we ask them, well, what is the monsoon season going to look like? What is the fire season going to look like? And we get phrases like equal chances, which is just the name of the game when it comes to weather and the science there. But when we're in the throes of an incident like we were for the springtime, wintertime flooding, we were getting those updates. If not once a day, a couple of times a day. And on top of that, I was calling them and getting updates and asking for more specific information. And so the feed of information that we get is just dependent on the incident and kind of what we're looking at. We do collaborate with them when it comes to just general preparedness and pushing information to the public. but also in our EOC, they are able to send a meteorologist to come staff our emergency operations center and such, that we have that contact.
We can kind of look at flooding as flooding. I mean, the water gets high and people that are in harm's way, either their homes or hikers or whatever the case may be. But it seems like if we kind of think about it for just a minute, wintertime flooding, with snowmelt is going to come a little less rapidly than, say, flash flooding during a heavy monsoon storm, a microburst, say, things like that. Is that true? Is wintertime versus monsoonal flooding different animals, or do you just have to kind of treat them basically the same?
They are different animals. So the thing that we saw this past year was very similar to what we saw in 2019. Is it was a rain on snow event. So it was a very large, widespread storm because the upstream snowpack with the flooding and the rain just led to the significant amount of flooding that we had throughout Yavapai County. Obviously, the Verde Valley got hit probably the hardest, but we saw some of that flooding in Prescott, as well as in Ash Fork, and Black Canyon City had an evacuation as well. We had Mare on set. So it was very widespread, whereas monsoon season is usually small concentrated storms that will impact the smaller local washes and neighborhoods. And so they are different beasts, and it's going to be more specific to the monsoon storms versus the March event had that rain on snow.
It seems like if of the two, we might have more trouble with visitors who are unfamiliar with our area and how incredibly quickly. I think we've all seen videos by now of how fast those flash floods can come in those small arroyos and washes and things like that. It seems like your agency would have a more difficult time reaching summertime visitors, tourists, guests who don't live here, who aren't signed up with Everbridge and have some of those alerts, and getting through to them what kind of peril they can find themselves very quickly in during a monsoon storm and a flash flood event. Can you reach out to them?
So that is one of the considerations that was part of the discussion. And again, the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office oversees the whole emergency notification component, but part of that is IPAWS, which is the Integrated Public Public Alert and Warning System, and Wireless Emergency Alert. So that is the functionality for them to send a message that is very similar to an Amber Alert. Or sometimes when we're in a certain area and we'll get those flash flood warnings from the Weather Service on our phones. We didn't opt into that. It's just because we happen to be within a certain geographic location, we got it. And so if the situation dictates it, and maybe it's a high tourist area and they're experiencing some sort of life-threatening situation, the Sheriff's Office may elect to use that part of the system, but it'll be dependent on kind of what's going on.
Yeah. I know that a lot of times our guests will kind of get themselves in a pickle, and I'm thinking of hiking incidents and getting stuck up high, and it's easier climbing up than it is climbing down. But in any case, it's good to know our first responders are trained and ready to help whomever they may need that help in any given situation. Let's talk then about wildfire. I did have a fireman one time to say, you know what, it's always wildfire season in Arizona, but certainly this time of year with temperatures up and humidities down and all of those kinds of things, that combination is going to bring us some trouble this year with all the grass growth from the wet winter. Do you see it as worse or better, or where do you kind of land?
Right now, I feel like we're the same as what we normally are. There are some people that are very optimistic due to the moisture that, we've gotten so much moisture, we're going to be fine. It's going to push it and we'll maybe get a fire if, the monsoons don't kick in or whatever. Or then there's the people that are a little bit more pessimistic or realistic, however you want to put it, where we all know that the moisture is going to lead to the growth of the fuels. And once it gets hot, they're going to dry out. Yeah. DFFM has stated that grass fires are their concerns for this year. And so I guess my caution to the public really is, even though we have had significant amounts of moisture and it's been fantastic, we're enjoying how much green there is in our county, to definitely not be complacent, because I'm getting notices daily of small fires that are kicking off, whether it be change being dragged along 169 I-17, other areas, people burning on no burn days, or just kind of being irresponsible with what they are burning. So it's really important because most fires in the area are caused by humans. And so it's up to us, as Smokey Bear says, only you can prevent a wildfire. And that's 100% true. So we just need to make sure that we're being smart and we're paying attention to these conditions and not getting complacent that we had a wet winter.
We talk about preparedness. We talk about the Everbridge system and the alert and all of those kinds of things. Are folks, homeowners, especially those maybe in wooded areas, getting pretty good about cleaning up around the property, getting fire wise? We've preached it for decades, and I know some really get on board and others not so much. How are you finding that situation?
Much the same. So we are seeing more Firewise communities coming on board, more communities preaching that defensible space, which is absolutely phenomenal. We're actually starting to see Firewise in the Verde Valley and Sedona and such. So that's great progress. But we still do have some hiccups in some areas that aren't quite as on board because they want the pretty trees and such. So it's the cost of living here in Yavapai County. It is a wildfire ecosystem. It does happen, and we all have to do our part. But we're seeing good progress, but we got to keep on going. Even in town, get those weeds cleaned up, and just some common sense. There's a lot of videos and things online. I'm sure. Can they call your office, or what jurisdiction if people are just concerned? Hey, I don't know how far back I need to trim. I don't know. Those kinds of things. What is would be a good resource to help them with kind of make those decisions? So I would actually refer them to Yavapai Firewise, and I believe the website is yavapaifirewise.org. Okay. They are a fantastic organization that really help HOAs and other neighborhoods get to that Firewise standards. They help get people in contact with the right groups, whether it be the BFFM or the local, like the Prescott Fire Department or whomever it may be. They're really good at making those connections. Yeah. But worst case scenario, definitely give my office a call. Well, and the bottom line is Yavapai County Office of Emergency Management has been very successful for a long time in helping the community. But ultimately, just like everything in this world, it's going to come down to the individual. And let's kind of bounce back to the very beginning of the show as we wrap it up here with Ashley Ahlquist, manager of the Emergency Management Department. Let's again plug the is it Everbridge? Am I saying that right? The emergency alert folks can put in their phone? Correct. Yeah, it's Alert Yavapai powered by Everbridge. Okay. So basically, Everbridge is the platform. Alert Yavapai is just the local branding of it. Gotcha. But you go online to ycsoaz.gov to register for it. You can also download an app. I do definitely recommend signing up through the Sheriff's Office website on the portal because the app, I believe, is geo-based, but I think you can also put in your location. Forgive me for not having all the ins and outs on it. Oh, that's fine. Believe having those multiple redundancies in place are really going to help you as the resident by knowing if I'm at the grocery store and my house is getting evacuated, I want to know that. You bet. For work or whatever it may be. So I definitely believe in having multiple methods to get that information. All right. Knowledge is power. So get that knowledge. Go to ycsoaz.gov and get signed up for that emergency alert system so that you have a safe monsoon, safe winter, safe summer, safe all the time. Ashley, we appreciate the work that you do there in your office, Yavapai County Office of Emergency Management. We do thank you for coming on the program this morning. Oh, you're very welcome. All right, Ashley Ahlquist, our guest. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.